dream up a new way to find the best ramen. We never thought, you know what Mars needs? A dune buggy. We didn't decide you should be able to share your home with travelers from around the world. We're not the ones who imagined one day we'd all be streaming movies, or whatever she's about to do. But when asked if these ideas were possible, we're the only cloud with the capabilities, experience, and know-how to make them happen. AWS is how.
Never get the credit I deserve. I don't know if you hearing every word. Yeah, I'm a threat, threat. Yeah, I'm a threat, threat. You know I'm a threat, threat. Come on, get up.
Back on Get Up with a little eye candy for you here. Jalen Rose on Twitter yesterday called this the dunk of the year. You guys tell me, Bam Adebayo, throw it up. Derrick Jones Jr., go get it, throw it down.
Reminds me of Dwight Howard in the dunk contest when he threw it in the rim. He didn't even touch the rim. Levitation.
Blake Griffin.
I mean, it is spectacular. And you know what? I can't tell you how good it feels to do that also. It's been a few years since I was able to. All right, as we continue here, huge half hour coming your way. Hall of Famer Michael Irvin in 5 minutes, his thoughts on the Antonio Brown trade. And then don't miss Stephen A. back from L.A., his thoughts on the Lakers. Is it time to shut LeBron down? All that and more in the next half hour of Get Up on ESPN.
Hey, you. The one with the designer dog collar. Wondering how I upgraded to this sweet pad? A 1,200 square foot bathroom and my very own spa. All I had to do was give my human the look. With Wells Fargo's 3% down payment on a fixed rate loan and a simpler online application, getting into my dream home was easier than ever. Get your human to visit wellsfargo.com/woof. What would she do without me?
Help you. Over there. Thanks, Tony. Doing this stuff. You better dig in.
It's the greatest ramen in the world.
If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give its care a raise. If your teeth chew beyond their limit, then they've earned 62,000 movements a minute. If your mouth's used to a manual clean, treat it to micro bubbles that feel great in between. If your amazing mouth does more than its share, give it Philips Sonicare. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips Sonicare.
Today's Best Western? What does that mean?
With rewards points that never expire, you get free nights fast. Now stay 2 separate times and get a free night. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Introducing Wendy's $5 Giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger Meal. For $5, this giant comes with double the beef and bacon, nuggets, fries, and a drink. Get it delivered through DoorDash today for a limited time.
Introducing the all-new Chevy Silverado. It's the official truck of calloused hands. The official truck of getting to work and getting to work. It's the official truck of homecoming and coming home. The all-new Chevy Silverado.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Get 0% financing for 72 months on this all-new Silverado. Or current competitive owners get a total value of over $9,000 when you finance with GM Financial. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
For moments that matter, TracFone keeps you connected for less.
Can you send that to me? Yeah.
Our new smartphone plan gives you talk, text, and data with unlimited carryover starting at $15 a month, no contract. All with nationwide coverage. TracFone for moments that matter.
Call it what you will. The tee shot, the first strike. Here, it's more. The push, the grit, the will. All part of the drive at the Masters.
Sweat, dedication, cupcakes.
We play football together for the Titans.
Now, we own a cupcake shop. I love this new Surface Pro. It's light, it's sleek, it's fast. Cupcakes are a great business.
As long as you don't eat the profits.
Here I go again on my...
You realize your vows are a Whitesnake song?
I do. If you ride, you get it. Geico Motorcycle. The SUV with the heart of a Jaguar. For great offers, visit your Jaguar retailer during the Impeccable Timing sales event.
The Oakland Raiders and John Gruden is getting a hungry and determined wide receiver.
The NFL cannot get more bizarre.
Antonio Brown won.
This wasn't sit-ups in his driveway. He did it through social media.
AB just wanted to tell his side of the story.
A 2019 version of I Want Out.
This was like an NBA-type power move. Everyone thought the Raiders were crazy.
The highest paid wide receiver in the NFL.
And it's finally done for Antonio Brown, who has been one of the most productive and consistent receivers of all time. He's had 6 straight 100-catch years. That's the longest streak in NFL history. The question is, can he keep up that production without Big Ben Roethlisberger? He's caught a pass from 6 different quarterbacks in his career, but only caught touchdowns from Roethlisberger. And where he might really help is his new quarterback, Derek Carr. That's an interesting question because Carr has struggled with tight window throws. According to NFL Next Gen stats, Brown has caught 10 touchdowns in tight windows over the last 3 years. That's 2 more than the Raiders have had as a team. Now, everyone is sort of forgetting the Steelers side of this. There's obviously a terrific receiver still in Pittsburgh, and that receiver is Juju Smith-Schuster, who posted this yesterday, just the simple words, "I'm ready." And you look at the background, there's Antonio Brown behind him. I can't say for sure he did that purposely, and it's against the Raiders. I can't say for sure he did that purposely either. But if so, I give him a lot of credit for an outstanding picture. Let us bring a Hall of Fame wide receiver into this conversation for the second time this morning. We had Randy Moss, and now the great Michael Irvin is with us. And Bart, we saw Michael was finishing up his breakfast as he was joining us here. What'd you think of that?
I know, I tell you what, that sweater looks like it comes accompanied with avocado toast.
Michael, avocado toast this morning on the menu?
No, I'm all in the protein, man. Bart, you know about that. You got to make sure you're doing the right things as you get older. It's a little harder to keep it off of you. So I'm all about protein in the morning to crank up the speeding system of my metabolism.
Okay, very good. I could listen to this all day, genuinely, but let's get to Antonio Brown. He forces his way out. He did something guys in your generation, no matter how good you were, and you were as good as anybody, couldn't do, wouldn't do. What'd you think of the way he forces his way out and ultimately gets what he wants?
Well, first of all, we couldn't do because we didn't have the social media platform to get your word out. Now, and honestly, you know, I think Antonio Brown got what he wanted out of this situation. I mean, he wanted out. Everybody's been talking the last few weeks about Antonio Brown like he's the worst villain in the world. And this man has been on the football field, hasn't been a problem making a lot of plays. But I think what he's been going through these last few weeks, last few months, it's been like a horrible divorce. And we hear about the greatest marriages when they come to a divorce. They're some of the ugliest things said to the public just to get the settlement that they want. And he got the settlement that he wanted. He wasn't going to Buffalo because I thought Pittsburgh was doing that out of spite. And now he gets to go to Oakland, and soon he'll be in Las Vegas. I was just there this weekend. Well, he'll have the whole town to himself, and hopefully he can get the Raiders back to getting some of those things you see over my shoulder right there called Super Bowl trophies.
Way to rub it in, Mike. You know, I've never been there. But, you know, what's the impact on the field for a guy like maybe Jordy Nelson and Derek Carr? What's his instant impact to that offense?
Well, to that whole offense, I mean, whoever is on that offense is just made better. This dude is a pure dog, Bart. You know he's a pure dog. And people have been talking about him like a dog. But if you got the right people around him, then that dog will bark and bite for you. And John Gruden is the right person to have around him. John Gruden will get him the ball. He'll get him the ball early in the first quarter, so he'll have that bark and biting for him as opposed to making him wait late in a game to get his passes, and he'll be barking and biting at you. This man, I think, is a great chance, a great opportunity. I was watching on social media when they were going back and forth at the Pro Bowl a little while ago. And I was thinking, wow, isn't that incredible to have that on social media, now to have that all year long I'm looking forward to the two playing working together.
Michael, your era in Dallas, you had Troy, you had Emmett, you had you guys won 3 Super Bowls together. In this era, this team had Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. That group will not have won a championship. How do you think we will look back on this era of the Steelers?
Yeah, and people like to try to make those comparisons. I mean, they had the talent, but not the connectivity. You've never heard any time in our time playing together, and even after our time not playing together, because we're still the best of friends, where we had any issue. Troy would not have taken the route that Ben Roethlisberger had taken and calling out his players. And to that, I get sick and I read of people talking about Ben Roethlisberger as a leader and say he led those teams that won Super Bowls. No, Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward and those guys led those teams. He was on those teams, and he was not calling those guys out at the time. So, we didn't have that type of relationship. This team will be remembered. They were great talents, but in order to become a real triplets, remember, this triplet, we had 3 Super Bowls to go with the triplets on the field. We had 3 rings to go with it, and they fell way short of that.
Hey, Mike, talking about trailblazer, we saw Le'Veon Bell do something that we have never seen before, sit out a whole season. Antonio Brown got his money. Do you see Le'Veon Bell getting his money, recouping the money, the $14 million that he lost, and then some?
Well, it'd be hard to recoup because you can't recoup time. But you can get a great signing bonus. And let's talk reality here. What both of these guys are talking about, a sense of appreciation. Let's be real here. I hear people talking about Antonio Brown wishes to be the quarterback. No, he just wishes to be appreciated like a man. We are in a different time, Bart. Back in the day, you had dominion over players because you were playing them a certain amount, and you had their rights forever. If they wanted to play, they can only play with you or not play at all. Now these guys are getting big signing bonuses, a big guaranteed money. You have to pay them no matter what. The days of dominion over players are gone. You got to have partnership with players. And if you don't do it well, you'll have the situation like you have in Pittsburgh. So the players do have power like they did not have before.
Michael, outstanding. Enjoy the rest of your breakfast. Thank you very much for doing this, and I hope we see you again soon. Thanks, Mike.
Greeny, you get me anytime, Greeny. You know you get me anytime, Greeny. You're my man. Pete, good talking to you, buddy. Good hollering at you.
We'll see you soon. Michael, the great Michael Irvin with us. For the 34th year, championship week continues tonight with the West Coast Conference semifinals. We got number 1 team in the country, Gonzaga, taking on Pepperdine. We got San Diego and St. Mary's in the second game. And don't forget, you can watch it all live on the ESPN app from absolutely anywhere. As we continue, Stephen A. Smith is on the way. He'll talk about that man, LeBron James. It's time to shut him down. We'll also get his take on Antonio Brown and more. Stephen A. next. Get Up on ESPN.
I'ma keep kissing, oh my God, oh my God.
Choosing your investments can be stress-free with a pre-built portfolio from E-Trade. Simply decide how much or how little risk you want to take, and with just a few clicks, we'll have you invested in a diversified portfolio. You'll barely have to lift a paw. The fund's prospectus contains its investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and other important information and should be read and considered carefully before investing. For a current prospectus, visit etrade.com/funds.
There are those who see the challenges facing the nation and say, send me. They fight for country. They fight for honor. They fight to win. Have what it takes? Find out at GoArmy.com/warriors.
And Doug. Limu, a civilian buying a new car. Let's go. Limu's right. Liberty Mutual could save you money by customizing your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, yeah, I've been a customer for years.
Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh my God, Becky, look at that crust!
At Pizza Hut, we're the ultimate cheesy crust, with 16 pockets overflowing with melted cheese.
I hear it in the background. She's watching it too, saying, and this is where you're going to see you next week.
greatest mom in the world.
What a win for the Houston Rockets. They beat Golden State again.
The Warriors look to reverse the trend. Do the Rockets have their number? Warriors Rockets, Wednesday on ESPN. Presented by State Farm.
Sweat, dedication, cupcakes.
We play football together for the Titans.
Now, we own a cupcake shop. I love this new Surface Pro. It's light, it's sleek, it's fast. Cupcakes are a great business.
As long as you don't eat the profits.
I can't believe it.
That there's a lobster in our hot tub?
Oh, you guys. There's a jet.
Oh, I needed this. No.
I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on a car insurance with Geico.
Geico. Believe it. There is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
We are back on Get Up, and on planet Earth, I just want everyone to take a look at this. This is the parking lot behind the Luxury Box Sports Bar and Grill in Washington, Pennsylvania. As you can see, Antonio Brown had been a fairly popular figure there, at least in all of these like cardboard cutouts and things like that. Not so much anymore. They are literally in the dumpster, and they are literally creating a dumpster fire. And as the one and only Stephen A. Smith has made his way back from a busy week in Los Angeles.
You got my brothers up in here, boy, and coach.
Here's what I did.
I didn't know this.
I don't have any one man who can go up against you, so I got two. I got Bart Scott and I got Mike Wilson.
Let me tell you something. If I was playing football, I couldn't mess with this man. If I was trying to coach, I couldn't mess with this man. They're in my domain. Good luck. Good luck.
So we're going to do both topics. We're going to start with Antonio Brown. You are for those who don't know, Stephen A Steeler fan through and through. Haven't seen you since the deal got done. What's your reaction?
Disgusted. Very, very disgusted. I'm not happy about it at all. If you're the you're the Raiders, you did a good job, and I'll be talking about that on First Take. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's be very, very clear. There's a distinct difference between what Kevin Colbert, based on his reputation, his experience, his resume, and what he's going to do with this 3rd and 5th round pick than he acquired from Antonio Brown. That is a different story compared to what level of compensation did you get for arguably the greatest receiver in football? And when we look at it, we can't just look at it in terms of Antonio Brown. We have to look at it from the perspective. Le'Veon Bell, arguably the best running back in football, you'll essentially get a 3rd round compensatory pick for him. Antonio Brown, you'll get a 3rd and a 5th round pick. If I sat here and I said to Greeny, if I said to Coach Woodson, a basketball coach, and of course this football analyst, Bart Scott, if I sat up there and I said to you, for arguably the best running back in football and the best wide receiver in football, all you're getting is a 5th round pick, a 3rd round pick, and a compensatory 3rd round pick for 2 of the elite players in the game of football. How in the hell is that a good job? That is not a good job. The fact of the matter is that this entire situation has been mishandled. Antonio Brown comes out a huge, huge winner because as a player, you don't pull off what he was able to pull off. And also, let's give Drew Rosenhaus mad love and credit because clearly he was behind all of this. And I'll take this a step further. We actually have to take a moment to contemplate, was Antonio Brown really telling the truth about Big Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization? Was he really sincere when he was offended by Kevin Colbert? Or did he go out of his way to make it look that way for the purposes of getting pushed out of Pittsburgh? And oh, by the way, was Big Ben Roethlisberger in on it? Because as a player, you might be like this. Yo, get your money, dog. We gonna sit there, talk about me any way you want to. We'll settle all of this once the dust settles. But for right now, I'm gonna go with that because I know you're trying to get your money, which is what this was all about.
I think Ben probably gave the organization an ultimatum. It's either him or me. Because all of a sudden, Ben is revigorated, right? All of a sudden, he's like, I want an extension. This is the same man that's been saying, I want to retire, been not hitting that retirement for the last 2 years. So did the relationship become so toxic that it was like, you know what, let's just get him out of the building? Because if you got to side with the receiver or the quarterback's going to win every time.
Stephen A., I would add, not only did they wind up getting 2/3 and a fifth for those two stars, they also wound up with $21 million in dead money. So it could not have worked that worse.
$21.1 million, but then when you take into account Juju Smith-Schuster and who else they have on their squad at the wide receiver position, you're talking about an excess of $24 million. So if you look at those 2 or 3 players, it equates to $24 million. Doesn't look quite.
They have them cheap. But so at the end of the day, what are the Steelers going into next season? Until we see what winds up happening with the draft and everything else, are they still the team to beat in the division? They have basically control.
They're definitely not the team to beat. First of all, the Baltimore Ravens would be there. The Cleveland Browns are on the come up. And we can't ignore the fact that right now, listen, I love Mike Tomlin. And last year wasn't his greatest year, but his resume speaks for itself. I don't think it's fair at all, the level of criticism that he's gotten overall. But I do think he goes into this next season because of the dysfunction that raked through that franchise last season, somewhat on the hot spot.
Who's the team to beat in that division?
Right now, it has to be the Cleveland Browns because you talk about a team with a tremendous amount of salary cap space that can attract free agents. I think everybody understands that Baker Mayfield is the truth. They'll create some more salary cap space. I think that'd be the number 2 hottest destination in free agency.
All right, I'm going to tag in my basketball cohort here now. We'll talk about the Lakers because the Lakers are basically out of playoff contention, right? And the team is scaling back LeBron James' minutes. We've seen it already. He's averaged under 30 minutes per game in his last 2, including Saturday night in a loss against the Celtics. And there are all kinds of other issues right now with the Lakers. This one is frightening. They announced that Brandon Ingram will miss the rest of the year. He's been diagnosed with a deep venous thrombosis in his right arm. It's a condition caused by a blood clot that can be very serious. But we don't know exactly how significant it is, but certainly he's closed down for the year. The Lakers also shutting down point guard Lonzo Ball. Ball sustained a grade 3 ankle sprain in January, then had a bone bruise that slowed his recovery. So it's been a very difficult time for the Lakers. And so, Mike Woodson, if you were coaching the Lakers, what are you doing with LeBron James right now?
Mike, I'm shutting him down. Gotta shut him down. Get ready for next summer.
What do you think, Stephen A.?
I don't disagree with that, but the narrative that I brought up last week when this news came down was that I want to see what LeBron James wants to do. I'm not saying that I disagree with Coach because I get where Coach is coming from, but the question hasn't been about the organization in terms of their interest, their level of commitment to LeBron James. They gave him 4 years, $153 million. They're all in on him. We recognize he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest player in the game of basketball, at least until he went down and got injured. Here's the reality. Because you have so many people, and being in LA all of last week, being in LA periodically throughout the year, producers, directors, the who's who of Hollywood sitting courtside. So, I'm not talking about questions, Green, Coach, Bart. I'm talking about accusations from folks in LA. He ain't here to be no Laker. He came here for Hollywood. Yeah, he gonna get his 27 points tonight. He's gonna do what he takes during those 48 minutes. But is he really all in Stephen A. the way that he was when he went to Miami, the way that he was when he went to Cleveland? I personally think those questions are ridiculous because LeBron James has proven to us throughout his illustrious career, saying I can be critical of him from time to time. There is no questioning his professionalism. There's no questioning his commitment to win. There's no questioning any of that stuff. But Laker Nation is a different breed. And when you are the marquee guy, keep this in mind, from 1948 to this day, there has never been a marquee name outside of Elgin Baylor wearing the purple and gold that didn't deliver a chip for the purple and gold. Elgin Baylor retired in 72, a few games into that season that Jerry West and those boys won it. He retired that season. But he is the only star, synonymous, and again, he was on the downside of his career. He is the only elite star to ever wear purple and gold that didn't deliver a championship. Everybody else did. That's the mandate for LeBron James, and they don't think that they're getting that priority from him. They think he wants to be Hollywood.
I heard you were talking about it last week. They're chanting, go back to Cleveland in LA, which is unbelievable. Will he get it done? Will he find a way? Will he and Magic and everybody find a way, whether it's free agency, whatever it might be, to win one in LA?
Well, again, this summer is going to be very pivotal for that franchise in terms of moving forward. So, they got to start by getting a free agent, a big free agent to come in.
Will they?
I think they'll get one, yeah. Don't know.
Kawhi? Kevin Durant? That big? Stephen A., I know you don't.
Would you like me to answer this, Coach?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you what's going on. Kawhi Leonard supposedly don't want to go. It's either the Clippers or Toronto. This is what they're saying. KD, 1 minute you hear Golden State, another minute you hear the Knicks. You certainly don't hear LA because he ain't trying to help LeBron win more than LeBron has already won. Kyrie Irving, you hear Boston 1 minute, New York the next. LA is an outsider till his camp picks up the phone to remind you, yo, he ain't trying to reunite with LeBron. He left Cleveland for a reason. We know what Paul George did in terms of electing to stay in OKC because the Lakers didn't pursue him strongly enough and what have you. So then you talk about Jimmy Butler, a damn good player, but not the marquee that you were looking for. Kemba Walker, a lesser version of Kyrie, but special. But then again, he's a native New Yorker, and New York would overpay to keep him, particularly if you can't get Kyrie. So when you look at all of these different scenarios, now we get back to the Lakers and LeBron, and here's what it comes down to. You LeBron James, nobody wants to come play with you. You can't get one gotta come that you gotta rely on Rich Paul and Clutch Sports with your client, because we all know that LeBron James is synonymous with Clutch Sports. You gotta rely on Anthony Davis getting traded. The Pelicans reportedly are not going to cooperate with the Lakers. They'll trade him anywhere but to the Lakers, which means he would have to wait until the summer of 2020. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Los Angeles Clippers have a billionaire owner worth $22 billion. They've got a guy in Lawrence Frank known for working hard. Doc Rivers has done an exceptional job of coaching this year. And oh, by the way, they're going to have enough cap space for 2 max players, not just one. And in the meantime, they're about 8 games over 500, battling for a 7th seed, could potentially climb to a 6th seed in the Western Conference picture. This is not a good situation for the Los Angeles Lakers. When we talk about the Yankees and the Mets in New York, I can't believe I'm about to say this. If the Lakers don't get somebody, the Clippers will be the Yankees of LA, and the Lakers would be the Mets.
There's nothing on earth I want to do less than break this up, but they're screaming at me because your show starts in 8 minutes. Go. Stephen A. Smith on First Take, back from Los Angeles. Outstanding to see you, my man. Thank you very much. We will take a break. Marcus Spears is going to jump in next. Antonio Brown is a Raider. How significant? Steelers lose, Raiders win. His thoughts next. Get up, ESPN.
Emerge restored, replenished, fortified. Emerge every day with Emergen-C, packed with B vitamins, electrolytes, antioxidants, plus more vitamin C to 10 oranges. Why not feel this good every day? Emerge and see.
When you book at Hilton.com, you get the price match guarantee. So if you find your room at a lower rate, Hilton is like, we're going to match that rate and give you an extra 25% off. What would travel sites do if you found a different price? That's not my problem. It's your problem. Book at Hilton.com and get the Hilton price match guarantee. If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give its care a raise. If your teeth chew beyond their limit, then they've earned 62,000 movements a minute. If your mouth's used to a manual clean, treat it to micro bubbles that feel great in between. If your amazing mouth does more than its share, give it Philips Sonicare. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips Sonicare.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
Psst. Hey, you. The one with the designer dog collar. Wondering how I upgraded to this sweet pad? A 1,200 square foot bathroom and my very own spa. All I had to do was give my human a look. With Wells Fargo's 3% down payment on a fixed rate loan and a simpler online application, getting into my dream home was easier than ever. Get your human to visit wellsfargo.com/woof. What would she do without me?
Introducing Wendy's $5 Giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger Meal. For $5, this giant comes with double the beef and bacon, nuggets, fries, and a drink. Get it delivered through DoorDash today for a limited time.
With With big savings on amazing vehicles, Hyundai has everyone feeling the fever. The Hyundai Spring Fever sales event. The longer you look, the more there is to like.
Now, get up to $2,000 in total savings on the 2019 Tucson. Hurry, event ends soon.
I'm Captain Obvious, and Hotels.com rewards me basically everywhere. So why am I playing the pug bongos at this destination wedding? Because Hotels.com lets me do me. Where are my dogs at? Oh, here they are.
Hotels.com. You do you and get rewarded.
Turn up your swagger game with one-a-day gummies. One serving, once a day. With nutrients that support 6 vital functions and 1 healthy you. That's the power of one-a-day.
I can't believe it.
That there's a lobster in our hot tub?
Oh, you guys. There's a jet. Oh, I needed this.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on a car insurance with Geico. We've been doing this a long time ago.
Did you guys stay to the hotel?
Yeah, we just got married.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm afraid of commitment. You know, I'm being boiled alive.
Oh, shoot. Believe it. Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
That guy's the worst.
Eros Flame, de New Versace Fragrance, Carmen.
Never get the credit that I deserve. I don't know if you hear every word. Yeah, I'm a threat, Yeah, I'm a threat,
Get Up is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines. Have just a few minutes left here, and I'm going to give them to my buddy Marcus Spears. The big swagoo joins us live this morning. All right, the deal is done. Antonio Brown is a Raider. He leaves Pittsburgh. A third and a fifth go back that way, and they got a bunch of dead money. Marcus, did the Steelers get this thing all wrong?
The Steelers lost, G. So whether you determine if you get it wrong or whatever, they lost in this situation. But it's a win for the players. It's a win for the future of the league. And I've heard a lot of people come on now. With that being said, you have to be this type of player in order to win. But Antonio Brown won in this situation. He wanted to get out. He wanted money. And he ended up going to Viva Las Vegas. The biggest show in football is about to end up in the biggest city in America when you talk about entertainment.
That said, just quickly, one more on Pittsburgh, and then we'll move forward. But you were here all last week, and you're particularly Friday, when all this thing was sort of breaking all around us. Are you surprised the Steelers wound up getting as little as they did?
I am very surprised, G. I didn't think they would get a first. We talked about that, but I didn't think a fifth and a sixth, a third and a five would be the numbers that they got. When you look at Antonio Brown's production, when you look at what he's done for that franchise and that organization, not only us, but the rest of the league has saw that as well. This was something. Look, the Oakland Raiders were like the person that came in and said, "Oh, you and your girl having problems? Oh, okay, let me go and holler at everybody over there and see what really is going on and figure out how to work my way in there so you can become my best friend."
I got you. I love every analogy you make. All right, let me go to Oakland here. Derek Carr, you feel good about it? He's got to be the guy who makes it work with Antonio Brown, and there have been some ups and downs. How do you feel about this marriage with Derek Carr?
Gee, hell no, I don't feel good about it. I told you I thought Antonio Brown would need to go somewhere where a guy was established. We don't even know if Derek Carr is going to continue to be the quarterback for John Gruden. I know everybody is in this honeymoon phase and excited about getting AB, and you saw the post that AB made with him talking to Derek Carr. We've seen John Gruden be irrational when it comes to those type of players on this football team. He let Khalil Mack go. He let Amari Cooper go. And we've already heard talks about, is Derek Carr the guy for John Gruden? Now, I'm sure this will help Derek Carr in his case with having AB, who's a prolific wide receiver and who will give him an opportunity to be very productive. But right now, as it stands, this is just the honeymoon phase. We'll see if Oakland loses 2 or 3 games and Antonio Brown doesn't have the amount of production that he wants, if this is the right synergy or not.
And if there's one thing we've seen historically from John, his favorite quarterback is always the next one. Marcus, outstanding. Thank you, my friend. Have a great day. We'll try and get you back tomorrow, next day, as all this continues to break. And let's finish it up at the table here this morning with what's been really interesting. Do you agree with that? You heard Marcus just say that's an iffy mix with Carr and AB together. Do you worry about that?
Of course. Well, I just told you about the new formula for moving forward. You get a young quarterback, and I think next year Derek Carr won't be on the team, and they get that salary cap relief.
And that's when they go to Las Vegas as well. All right, Dan is working the phones. He's going to be with us all week long as we'll continue to bring you the very latest on all the free agency, which the legal tampering officially begins this afternoon, and then these deals can become official on Wednesday. Mike Woodson, so good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. He'll be back with us later in this week as well. Busy day. Thank you for spending your morning with us. We'll see you tomorrow. First Take starts now.
Come on, get up.
The Oakland Raiders and John Gruden is getting a hungry and determined wide receiver.
The NFL cannot get more bizarre.
Antonio Brown won.
This wasn't sit-ups in his driveway. He did it through social media.
AB just wanted to tell his side of the story.
2019 version of I Want Out.
This is like an NBA-type power move. Everyone thought the Raiders were crazy.
The highest paid wide receiver in the NFL.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to First Take on a Monday. Hope you all had a fabulous weekend, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. The crew is here. Steve